Welcome to another episode of Office Hours. I am Dr. Sayyid Nizamuddin Ahmad, and today's question requires some background explanation. Many years ago, I gave a lecture at the Warburg Institute, I think it was 2012, on a famous figure in the Islamic occult sciences named Ahmad al-Buni. It's a famous lecture. It's available on YouTube. It's linked on my channel as well. You can go and look at it. And after that lecture, which was very well attended, I was approached by a group of people who wanted me to meet someone who needed, they said, an exorcism, which they would like me to do. Well, that proved to be a very interesting experience. And I actually have spoken about it. It's on the Glitch Bottle podcast. I think it's episode 16 because I gave two interviews, long-form interviews to the Glitch Bottle podcast, which is run by my friend Alexander Eth. And they were episodes 15 and 16. I'm pretty sure this is in the second one. But anyway, you can go and look at the story there. So one of these people contacted me recently via email and sent me some very strange images, and he wanted to know what they were of. So what happened is that someone posted these images on a WhatsApp group over there of some strange writings, which they found floating in the river Thames. That's Thames. A lot of Americans say Thames, but it's not pronounced Thames, it's the Thames. That's how the British people pronounce it. And so this person fished out these documents from the River Thames, which were bound up in a string, and he opened them. And they had these weird symbols and diagrams on them in the Arabic language. And I've got an image, which you can see about now, of the strange pieces of paper or documents, two little sheets of paper, and these have been enlarged. And they were bound together with string, and you can see the string there as well in the picture. They're shown with looks like some sort of a wooden background on a board or something. Well, they're written in Arabic, and there's a circular kind of mandala-like shape there. And then there's all this writing. So what are these? Well, if you haven't figured it out yet, these are amulets or talismans. And in Islamic occult sciences, there's quite a long tradition of talismanic procedures and amuletic practices that involve writing things down in a certain way, in a very special manner, at a special time often, to achieve whatever you like. And these are all parts of what I call the system of Quranic theurgy. It's based on the use of the divine names, and I, again, spoke at length on these matters in my occult sciences lecture on Ahmad al-Buni at the Warburg Institute. And I also speak about in episode 16 of Glitch Bottle about how these amulets are actually made. But if someone actually brings you an amulet which they found somewhere, as in this case, fished out of the River Thames, and they open them up and they want to know what they are, it's very hard to often tell what they're for. And what I mean to say is that it's almost impossible to reverse engineer an amulet. So in answer to this question, which I think is very interesting, what are these? Well, they're amulets. They're Islamic amulets or talismans. But what are they for? Hard to say. And if you look at the image, some of the writing has been washed away by the water, and you can't tell. And to be quite honest, some of the penmanship is really, really hard to make out. And part of it may be due to the just the handwriting. But what I can tell from this is I can come up with a reasonable hypothesis as to what these things are supposed to be. So you can actually look in the image and you can see that you have basically a 10 by 10 grid, and there is a word written in each grid. And it's interesting. It's not really possible to make all of them out, but each letter I can see in each word, in each cell of the 10 by 10 grid, begins with the letter Qaf. So you have Qareeb, Quddus, looks like Qadim, Qawi, Qahir, Qahhar. And typically when you have the name Al-Qahhar, the subjugator, one of the divine names, and you have the letter Qaf, it usually has to do with somebody overcoming another person or even trying to destroy that other person. So this is more than likely what this amulet, what this talisman was made for. And then the question is, well, what was it doing floating in the Thames? Very interesting. All right, some amulets are hung on trees. Some are thrown in a body of water, preferably running water. Usually that's the case, as opposed to a well, so like an ocean, a stream. And some are burned and some are buried. So why is that done? Well, it turns out that each talisman has a predominant element. So there is a cosmology which goes with the whole world view of talismans and the occult sciences, an entire traditional kind of cosmology. And that sort of assumes the whole sort of Ptolemaic universe of astrology along with the four elements. There's actually a very good book about that whole worldview. It's called, and it was considered by even in Middle Ages, to be this, what was known as the Great Chain of Being. And that book is in fact entitled The Great Chain of Being by Lovejoy. Very famous book. It's gone through many editions. You can refer to that. So in the context of this question, the reason this amulet was found in the River Thames is that it is connected with the element of water. So you have fire, earth, air, and water. And so this amulet is associated with the element of water, and for it to work after it had been written out in the proper way, it had to be placed in running water. So that's what is involved with this amulet. And the question is, well, what does that mean? Because it's been fished out. So if it's fished out, then probably it's no longer working anymore. So whoever had this amulet made, whatever they made it for, probably the theurgic effect of that has now been annulled or nullified. So that's what this is. It's an amulet associated with the water element, 10 by 10 grid using divine names beginning with the letter Qaf, which usually involves subjugation or destruction of some sort of a rival. And Allah knows best. Wallahu a'lam. Thank you for watching.